It's today at Cowes, and I'm down here at the Cowes Corinthian Yacht Club. But everyone had to wait around a bit today because the first races didn't start until 2 o'clock. The sun was here, but the wind wasn't. It was here, it moved around, but eventually it got going, and we had a lot of fun. Matt was out on the water, of course. Let's hear from him.
The weather kept us guessing for most of the morning, guessing whether the sea breeze would actually build, and when it did, would it last? It certainly gave the race committee quite a few nervous moments. But it did build, and although it was quite a light affair, it stuck to get everybody away. But what was strange was that the weather itself had another roll of the dice, because as the sea breeze died, which is what the race committee were most worried about, the gradient breeze built. That meant everybody managed to finish their races. More happy faces.
Well, Matt's ashore now, and it was quite a fun day out on the water. The breeze did fill in. But we've come to, as I say, the Cowes Corinthian Yacht Club. And today, for everyone, is crunch day because it's discard. We want to explain that a bit, perhaps, but the results are all over the place now, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. I mean, this is, as you say, where it gets quite difficult to figure out, certainly in the classes that are close, who's going to get the upper hand. And so you start trawling back for the worst result, which you can drop. But you can only do that if you've sailed a minimum number, which is 6 races. So discard it is discard day today.
And someone from this very club has actually discarded a first.
Yeah, that makes the maths a bit easier, doesn't it? I wonder which first I should discard. Should it be the Tuesday or the Wednesday? I don't know. Rupert Manda is who you're referring to, of course, in the Flying 15s. And yes, I mean, he is no stranger to winning, it has to be said. I mean, the Flying 15s, he's been hugely successful here in the past. He's won Cowes Week overall here in the past. So in many ways, I wasn't surprised to see him at the front. But given that he's been so good at it, I thought we had to come and have a talk with him. So earlier on this morning, I came down to the Cowes Corinthian, as you say, and caught him before he went afloat.
I think we've won every race, yes. I'd had some luck and managed to sneak ahead on several of the days, yes.
What's the secret to success?
Well, that was a question we've just been working out how to answer. So something to do with figuring out the tides, the wind, and starting well, and then seeing if we can stay ahead of the others.
It's an active fleet here, isn't it? I mean, the Flying 15 class was born on the island, I guess.
So about 75 years ago, the fleet was invented by Arthur Fox, and this year we've got the 75th anniversary, the regatta in a few weeks' time, and European Championships as well. So we've got lots of people coming from Europe, and I believe even from Hong Kong we've got one entrance, but I'm not sure how that's in Europe.
And actually, internationally, it's still a class that thrives, isn't it? It's still very busy around the world.
Yes, there's many fleets around the world. I can't remember how many different fleets there are, but Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, yep, lots.
And it's a class that's getting on a bit. As you say, it's 75 years old, but it's still really popular. What is it that, I mean, lots of classes have come and gone in that time. What is it that makes the Flying 15 so appealing?
That's a great question. I think there's good, close racing. Reasonably close, tight rules, so that there's not much development. There's still little bits of development, but not much. So our boat is now nearly 20 years old, and it's still doing okay. So they last a lot longer, and so some of the, as you said, some of the newer fleets are coming and going quicker than that. So.
And I guess one of the other big advantages, or one of the things, the characteristics of it, is one of the few boats that genuinely bridges the gap between dinghy and keelboat.
It bridges the gap. It's also good for different weights of people, different ages of people. So it's good. And if you want to have a more leisurely sail, it's a nice boat to sail. If you want to sail it very hard and race hard, you have to put a lot of work in.
So there we have it, another win for this boat and for Rupert Manda and his crew. Gareth, it's just made me want one of these even more. I've ended up with a very long shopping list of boats actually at this Cowes Week, and actually one of the other boats that I'd love to go on my shopping list is the Cape 31, because that has turned out to be a really exciting class, hasn't it?
Yes, I think you can probably get a few Flying 15s for a Cape 31, sadly.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, what a great class to see here at Cowes Week. 6 boats last year, 17 boats here this year, with quite a few rock stars on board, and actually a clear win for, He's a bit of a rock star, but he's not a pro, is he?
No, he's certainly not a pro, but he's a very, very talented sailor. Russell Peters, who has won classes here at Cowes Week before. He's won Cowes Week overall before. And he sails with his family as well, which makes him all the more interesting in many ways. And I caught up with him after today because he had a big smile on his face because today, day 6, was quite significant for him.
We had a good day, and a very, very tricky day, but we had a good day. We were third in the early part, and then we second beat. We got good shift, got quite a good lead on, and then it was relatively easy from there. I'm not saying not stressful, but relatively easy. There was a few shifts after that, but nothing quite as big as there'd been early on. So
there were strange weather conditions, weren't there? Because we started off in a sea breeze and then that decayed and let the gradient breeze come through.
yeah, and the transition between those two was tossing a bit of the dice, rolling the dice a bit. But Brett, our tactician, did a fantastic job of weaving our way through the transition zones. Good fun, good day.
It looks like you may well have won the class overall with a day to spare.
I think so. I'll have to check that nobody's protesting us or anything like that, but I think we have, yeah.
Well, congratulations. I mean, another success. I mean, you're quite you've won here before. I mean, what is the secret to success overall in Cowes, and then what do you think the secret to success in the Cape 31 is?
In anything at Cowes, it's getting a right team, knowing where you are on the water, for me being able to concentrate on steering, lots of good trimmers. However small your boat is, it's a team and it's got to be good. And as to me, these boats get bigger. I normally sail a 3-man boat, so 7-man, bigger team, same principles. All got to be good and gel together. Try and get them to bed early at night.
That must be the biggest challenge at times, I suspect.
Sometimes, but we generally have enough people concentrating on boat speed and keeping the boat going, and enough people working out where we are on the other boats and what the tide is a very massive thing, and knowing the little gains to be made there.
There's a lot of talented sailors. I'm not saying you haven't got them, but I mean across the fleet, I've been blown away by the talented sailors that there are here. Olympic medalists and world championships.
Plenty of medalists, aren't there, and things like that. It's incredible. To win is very, very pleasing, especially against the level of talent that there is. There's a lot of people that have won a lot of trophies, but there are also people sailing with their daughters, and I've got 2 of my daughters on board, and one of their boyfriends. It's good. It's marginally too professionals for my enjoyment, but there is certainly a good standard of people in the fleet.
And finally, what is it about the class? I mean, we saw 7 boats here last year. We've seen 17 entered here this year. 18 entered, okay. 18 entered this year.
2 didn't last very long with hitting rocks and things like self-inflicted wounds, which is a shame for them. Why these boats are what the Solent has needed for quite a long time, in my opinion. To me, there's a lot of boats that I wouldn't be bothered to sail. I wouldn't get enough fun out of sailing them that I can afford. I'll mention one. I've got nothing against them, but a J109 is a good boat. It's not an exciting boat. It's not, And then you go bigger, and there's the fast 40s that just does so much money a year. And these are one design. There's smallish, 7 people, not too many. Bigger than a J70. It's a better boat than a J70, in my opinion. And I think it's not surprising that it's doing well, in that it is for example, in the Round the Island race, we're 31 foot. I think we finished about 8th boat round the whole of the island. So they're pretty fast boats and fun. And so I think it's a pretty obvious boat that was going to do well, in my opinion.
Well, as we said, we're here at the Cowes Corinthian Yacht Club, and Mark Hart is her Commodore. How long have you been a Commodore, Mark?
Year and a quarter, year and a third, almost, yes. Yeah.
Now, I noticed you've got a Dragon on there. Now, Dragons don't sail here, is that right?
They're a bit difficult to launch them here, so we keep them in the Yacht Haven. Yeah, it's but good, nice class, a lot of members here.
Yes, they certainly are. And the Flying 15 and the Sonatas are the ones.
Sonos.
Sonos,
Sorry. Oh, there
I
we go.
always call Sonatas,
Yeah,
Sonos,
yeah.
Sonos.
So we've got 3 belong to the Castle Foundation that is used for integrating disabled sailors with able-bodied. 2 privately owned boats, which they can also borrow whenever they want. And yeah, nice little fleet of Flying 15s.
It's a lovely little club here because you've got the craning facilities here, a pontoon just next to Lallows and just south of the yacht haven, and always busy.
Yeah, we've gained a few members lately. It is busy. I mean, we're lucky that we're one of the few clubs with facilities, apart from the squadron, of course. But, a legacy of the past Commodores to have a nice little marina and this apron here for dry sailing boats from. And it's fantastic, which just helps encourage people.
And you were saying that COVID's actually helped you.
It's not been too bad. I think people have realised that they can come down here, sit outside in the sunshine. And I think the COVID years have been quite sunny, haven't they? So yes, it's been quite fortunate, really. Yeah.
And how's Cowswick gone for you then, 22?
Going very well. Yeah, dragon sailing's going well. Yeah, top of the tree at the minute. Might change tomorrow, of course. But it's been quite a good week. Yeah, different conditions. Yeah.
And well, the club's heaving here, so it always seems to be busy down here.
Yeah, it's always busy. We're having parties most nights. Yeah, we've got a Sonar XOD party tonight, which will be great. We're expecting quite a few, well over 100. Pardon me?
Yes, we are down by the ferry.
Yeah, well over 100 people for that tonight, and we had a 70s night last night. We had a Dragon, Squib and Flying 15 party on Monday night. Cocktail party Sunday, that's always great.
Well, Matt and I were just talking about this over coffee this morning, in that this Cows Week seems to be returning to normal.
A bit more of a sailing Cows Week, yep. Sailing a few parties, and it does seem a bit more normal and less corporate. So I think that's been a big step forward. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Mark, for hosting us and allowing us to come down here and talk about the classes and the club, and long may it continue.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
So anybody who's been following the Black Group overall results will know that this boat, Ziggy, as you know, fun, is currently leading. Owned and skippered by Kevin Downer. Kevin, how did you get on today?
I think we've done okay, but with the rating system, there's a few boats behind us. They should be in about 7 or 8 minutes behind us, and we'll be okay. So yeah, fingers crossed. I think
You've been having a hell of a week.
it's been great. The boat's been going great. In the breeze, it loves it, and in the light, it seems to be okay.
We're so used to Cows Week being sort of the focus is sort of carbon and expensive and the rest of it. And with all due respect, this is not at that end of the scale.
Well, no, because if you look at our rig, I help out with the Etchells for David Franks, and when they tear their sails and break their masts, we use their recycled sails on our boat. Hence, the bottom batten is so low. It's an old Etchell mast. It's an Etchell jib. It's an Etchell mainsail. It's an Etchell spinnaker. It's an Etchell spinnaker pole. Joe Richards gave us a SP20 bulb to go on the bottom of the keel because we kept capsizing. So, but no, it's good. We love the IRC trickery.
And that's fantastic. And I mean, just overall, I mean, what do you think the boat has cost to put together?
£1,000?
No. Really?
Yeah, I don't think much more than that. No, because the sails are time. But the sails were for free. The mast for free. Yeah, it's not much. The boat cost about £500 in the first place.
That is fantastic. I have to say, that is probably made my week hearing that. That's fantastic.
We lined up. We did the IRC Nationals, so we got the whole boat all measured up and endorsed, so we could do the IRC Nationals. And we were the smallest one out there, but we were the only one with white sails. Everything else had carbon. It was like,
Fantastic. Good on you. That's
good recycling. Good, just to keep going.
absolutely. Well, it must be one of the greenest boats out here.
Maybe. Certainly recycled.
Great story there then, Matt. A boat worth less than £1,000.
Incredible.
Amazing,
yeah.
isn't it?
Such a good story. It really, I thought it was a great story.
Just goes to show you don't need to spend lots of money to have a great fun and great competition. So that's about it for our Today at Cowes, day 6. Just one more day left. In fact, we won't have a Today at Cowes tomorrow. We'll have a This Week at Cowes tomorrow. Look forward to that. So, Matt, I think there's not much else to do other than you need a bit more ballast.
Well, we do have a bit of a problem, Steve, because
What's that?
it was a late start and it was a late finish. And it's empty.
Oh.
I think it's time to go.
Off you go. Bye. The bar's here, yes?
Okay.